Okay, I think finally in business. Please don't autoplay. Just close that. Okay. So back to it. September 16th. Doing some more Facebook live coding. Facebook Demetricator live coding. Let's see. Don't remember where I left off, but we'll find something to work on. Honestly, in some ways, I may need to... I mentioned last time on the recording where the audio was full of echo, so I doubt anybody heard it, that part of what I'm doing here is I'm pulling from, kind of like adapting Twitter Demetricator code in order to kind of bring Facebook Demetricator into parity with Twitter Demetricator in terms of a lot of the techniques that I've developed over time, because Twitter Demetricator kind of has the most current version of all of that. So this is currently like kind of a messy hybrid between Facebook Demetricator and, well, between like a current Facebook Demetricator, meaning not very much developed yet, and the old Twitter Demetricator. So there's a lot of things running, a lot of searches running, and things like that that are not really related to Facebook. So I may go through and comment out some more things. Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff is, well, this isn't running. I clearly have marked this if false. So let's just get rid of that altogether. And we can get rid of all this too. Oh, I think we'll just do some more tracking things down. This won't be very fun or exciting if I go through and just delete. So let's find something else to work on. That's curious. Oh, right. It's because so, you know, Facebook has this new metrics blocking feature that they've had out for a little bit. It's so minimal. It's hard to even know what to say about it other than it's a clear indication that they want credit for doing something, but they don't actually want anybody to use it, or if they do use it, they don't want anybody to be affected by it. And see, I can't even remember where it is. But anyway, I need to go turn it off. I was playing with it yesterday, or a few days ago, to see. I have no idea where they put it. So I have to go find it. It's not under general. Should be easy. Where is it? Oh, maybe it's up here. Just under display. I mean, that would make a little sense. That's not where it is. Let's try the help center. See what I'm talking about? They don't want you to hide likes. Ah, finally down here. All right, let's see. Settings, privacy, newsfeed preferences. Do you see newsfeed preferences here? I do not. Maybe you can only change it on the app and not on the web. That would be even... That's crazy. Top right of Facebook. Settings, privacy, newsfeed preferences, reaction preferences. See, it is not there. Settings. So I went to... Ah, there. That's just insanely difficult to find. It hides it in so few places, and it only hides one metric and leaves every other one in place. It's not worth much. I suppose I suppose it'd be possible for me to piggyback and use that to let them hide those specific metrics, but then I wouldn't be able to toggle, and they might do away with it at any time. I don't think it's something worth relying on, unfortunately. Okay, anyway, back to it. So I mentioned this last time, but I'll reiterate some of these things since the audio was poor. Part of what I'm doing right now, what you can see on my Facebook screen, is it's running the current kind of totally undone version of this. And anytime you see one of these like white boxes or a cyan box or a red box, and I put them in different colors, green, whatever. These are locations in the interface that have been tracked by my code. And I'm not doing anything with them yet. I'm not going in and hiding the metrics yet. Right now I'm just trying to capture every metric that will need to be hidden. And then once I've got a good handle on all of them, I'll look for commonalities and figure out how to detect and swap them out or hide them, which usually involves some version of swapping things out. And this is because you can't just delete the line. Like, for example, this is a Jess, Ezra, and 20 others. I could delete this whole thing. I could go, like, I could make it so the code would... I'll put this up here so we can see what I'm doing. But so this is that span, and I could detect it and just hide it. Look at that though, that's interesting. This is what the find is that, see, there's another number right under it. So you don't just have to hide numbers, you have to hide numbers under the numbers. So there's the number as I see it. Then if I hide that line, then there's the 22 underneath it. Now I would have to detect the 22. I guess I'm detecting the 22 is probably the same block. And I could hide that one. So I can hide both of those. So this and that. So here's that other one. I guess it was that one. Let's see. Yeah. But I can't just two things. Like, I don't want to just delete it, as convenient and easy as that would be. Because if I just could delete it, or if I could just delete it, then I would be almost done, right? I could just, everything that's got a box I've drawn around it, I could just delete it and move on. But you lose a lot of information. You'd lose the names. I don't want to lose the names. The whole point is I want to lose the numbers and leave the names. I'd lose the word comments and the ability to click this in order to pop up comments. I'd lose this one. I'd lose that one. I'd lose some of these times that people. I want to leave something in place for the times, and the times are also permalink links. So, and also want to be able to toggle, and so that's really why I have to leave it in place, is so that if I go through and I hide all the metrics programmatically, and then while I'm looking at this thing, someone else likes the post. If I've deleted that code, then when the interface, when Facebook tries to update the metric, it's going to not be able to find it because it's gone. So that when I toggle things back on, well, if I can't toggle it back on. But even if I just hide it, it gets complicated, basically. I end up having to do this weird dance of where I make a copy of something like this. Then I hide the copy. And I let Facebook update the copy. And then when I toggle, I swap them in and out. This will make more sense when I get to one of those. So this has nothing to do with demetricating Facebook, but this was one of my composition teachers. He's no longer with us, Sal Martirano, but he's sitting at the Salmar Construction, which is the world's first real-time, touch-sensitive, interactive electronic composition machine. And each one of these little dots is a touch-sensitive button. And this was a patch bay, and then there's all these synthesizers all throughout this thing, and then there were 32 surround sound speakers. It's fascinating, crazy. Anyway, this is always the trouble with demetricating Facebook, is that I have to look at Facebook, and then I get distracted by Facebook, because it's designed to distract me. So right now I'm just scanning. So here's something I haven't caught yet. And sometimes these can be a little hard because I can't make the suggested pages box always come up when I want it to. So I can go and I can inspect this. Here it is. The trick with these is always, so this is what I'm going for. I need some way to detect this programmatically through CSS selectors, these class names or the structure. And the challenge with Facebook in particular is always that they have just absolutely obfuscated machine-generated class names. There's almost nothing that is human readable in any of this, and there's very little that's unique. They reuse anything they can. So there's not a lot of logic to this. I mean, structurally there's some logic, but in terms of class names and IDs, and certainly in terms of class names, it's not logical. So I end up going up the tree and looking for something up here that I can kind of maybe hope will be repeatable and maybe even a little bit human readable. So this is good. Oh, that's actually great. This is unusual. I would find one this good. So this ARIA label suggested pages, that's a very human readable thing, and I can just search for that. And I can get fairly close. ARIA label, I actually don't know what ARIA stands for. I think it's an acronym, but it's about the accessibility kind of tags. Let's look. Accessible rich internet application, set of attributes that define ways to make. Okay. Yeah, so it's tags, and it's often my best bet if I can find something that is in the ARIA label, because they end up having to be human readable because they get translated into, say, screen readers, spoken aloud for people who have low vision or have any difficulty with vision whatsoever. If they turn on screen reading, then it would read the word suggested pages, so it can't be just some gobbledygook. I will say in my experience that Facebook is not particularly, what would I say? They're no less prone to letting big bugs linger for months or years in the accessibility sections of Facebook than they are anywhere else. So, and I've had interactions before. I've been in contact with the accessibility team, trying to get them to fix bugs that I'm hoping to use to piggyback off of, and they've written me back sometimes, but they never fix anything. You kind of sometimes you just got to wait for them to do a total rewrite, and then they catch it. Anyway, so here's kind of the first step I'll do here. I'm going to just load up a little jQuery in the console, and I have been increasingly doing some of this work in kind of just pure JavaScript. When I make smaller projects, I'll do them in pure JavaScript and use that as another opportunity to learn it. But I learned all this in jQuery, and it's just faster for me, and it's a very efficient library, so I don't worry about it too much. But I'll write a query. I'll say if ARIA label equals suggested pages. So that's great. So I'll hit it, and then I need to, so it's getting me to here. Now I need to find a way to drill down and pull this down a little bit. So here's my suggested page. I could just see what each of these, is that one maybe? Yeah, it's these divs. Okay. So, yeah. I think the flex basis honestly almost could be, no, it's not going to work. Let's see if we can find anything else to work with. Link. So yeah, I'm kind of going for this sentence right there. Don't see a span Durls auto around. There might be one stuck in here though. Let's go. Yeah, let's open this back up again. Oh, the glorious life of a net artist, right? Okay. I think this was the level. So honestly, it's not too far from here. So I could say I'm looking in general for the div aria label suggested pages, div, div, div. And that structure might hold fairly well. So I can say div, div, div. And there should be a bunch. That should be every one of the kind of currently loaded. Here, let's put a little CSS on those. Maybe there's more than those. Oh, we're going to find out. Let's say. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay. I think I just need to put a child selector in here. So direct descendant, direct descendant, direct descendant. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so that should be catching all of these. So now I can drill down in one. Div. Now let's try the span. What was it? Dir equals auto, just in case we get lucky. Let's set this something else like cyan. Yeah, okay. Not really what I was hoping for. Turn that off. So it's another direct descendant, another direct descendant, another direct descendant. I mean, this, I start doing it this way and it's like, the trouble I'm always, like, the thing I'm always facing here is, do I go through every one of these class names? I mean, these are things that I've done many times. I could go through each one of these class names. I could count how many instances of that class name are currently on the page, just to get a general sense of distribution, of uniqueness. The idea is that maybe one of these class names is fairly unique to this particular string of text. Unfortunately, the chances are low that I'll find a whole lot useful. Sometimes it's my only choice. The other thing is to keep going down this hierarchy of, right now I've got this div, div, div span, but probably I should go so this is the div, div, div right here. It's each block, the thing I've done in orange. So I could say child, child, child. I don't want the A, I want the first, second div. There is, see? So we have to be the first div only. The more weird specific I have to get in this hierarchy, the more likely it is to break. It's always this balance between, I could easily grab enough information here quickly in order to detect it and move on to the next thing. The problem is that the more specific I have to be, the more likely it is to break when Facebook makes a change down the line. This one's only got one That's interesting. There's only one class name in this. Let's try that. So I could modify this to stick a div dot that class name in here, and we'll change it to 4 just so I can see it. Ooh, look at that. Now I did get this like button. So let's see if I can not get that like button. Must be something stuck in here. Ah, okay. So first of all, let's undo. Then I can go and I can do one more div. Let's try that. No, it didn't help either. Sometimes it's like also you're like I'm balancing going back and really tracing everything or just trying it a couple times until I get it right. So yeah, that didn't work. So div, that's that one. And then this would be the first descendant div. And then really we want the second which I think we say div equal to. No, I can't remember right now. That's not what I want. It's equal. That's what I'm looking for. Ah, it's a colon. I'm rust. Oh no, I used a colon. So yeah. I wonder why that didn't work. Maybe it was a 1 because it starts at 0. Sometimes what I do instead of trying to do the CSS is I just say, give me the text of the item. So whatever it is I'm finding, it doesn't have. So here's that div with the KM class, and then direct descendant div, and then go find a div. Oh, right. So maybe I should do direct descendant here as well. Right. There we go. Okay. So this is a selector that will give me, in fact, so if I now, actually, that's interesting. It's just the first one. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find all suggested pages blocks and then run the query. So it would be something like, let's actually do a little code and we'll test it out and see if I can make it work. Just going to get a So right now I'll just do I need to get a copy of ready. Ready is, it's just a wrapper around mutation observers that somebody named Ryan Moore wrote. It's available on GitHub. Search Ryan Moore, Morr. And you'll find it. I don't even know if it's something he maintains, but it's worked for me for years, and it gives me this nice, easy syntax. So I put that up, and let's take this, and I'll explain it. We'll see if it even works, and I'll explain it. Nope, I did something wrong. Oh, do I have a typo? I do. Oh, right. This just takes a jQuery selector. It's not. It accepts a jQuery selector. Paste in. There. So it's finding. Yeah. What I'm hoping is that it's going to find all of these, and I think I'm going to have to abstract this a little bit more. You know, I think I could even, for every suggested, oh right, I'm going to have to say, right. I got to go back and remember what this one is. So it's div, direct. Okay, so I think what I'm looking for really is div. So every time you find a div that's in a div that's in a div that's in a suggested pages div, then see if it has one of these in it. And if it does, print out its text. Well, or print out its text anyway. I guess I should say if l.length greater than 0. That way it won't bug out if it doesn't find one. So this has got code running. It's all freaking out. Anyway, there. This is what I'm looking for. So you can see it's printed out all of these different strings. They all contain the metrics that I'm looking for. And as I scroll this box to the right now, if Facebook loads more in, then we should see more pop up here. So let's see if I'm right. It's not gonna, I mean, this Facebook isn't loading anymore, so, but if it did, then it would. So Ready, what Ready does, really Ready plays off this thing called mutation observers, and mutation observers are the latest, most efficient way of setting up a series of trackers within a web document to look for modifications to the DOM, or the document object model. And so that when Facebook's code makes a change, inserts something, changes something, when they make a change in the matrix, to quote the matrix, then any mutation observers I've already set up and assigned to watch for those kinds of changes will get notified. And this is vastly superior to how I've had to do this in the past, and how I first had to do this back in 10 years ago, which is that, like when I first wrote this, I had to write a series of just endless loops, that timers, basically, that would say, it's been 5 seconds, let's go check and search for everything we care about. And that got really slow really quickly. In fact, the first beta of Facebook Demetricator I put out in 2012 was just too slow. And people were like, yeah, this is cool, but it's just too slow. It was slowing Facebook down. And I found some more efficient ways to do it. But the mutation observers are really pretty efficient. You kind of register them. As long as the query is correct, then they get notified, and you can manage them. And you can turn them off if you're done with them. So I don't know all the details at the code level. It's more built in. It's not really running a layer on top. It's more piggybacking on things that are already present in the browser. So anyway, this is our code. So let's go find a good place to put it. This is not in any grand order yet. Just want to find things that are Facebook related and not I can't remember if Right Rail was a Facebook, or if that's, yeah, I think this is Facebook. Yep. Okay. So let's try putting it here. I will give it a comment. So it'll be suggested pages. Anna, Deborah, and 732 others. I just tend to write kind of like, what is the thing that it's like, what's an example of the text it can find? Because part of what happens too is I'll end up having to come back to this query later when it breaks and figure out how to tweak the query. Because like maybe Facebook will make some change, and now this class name won't be all this string KL, it'll be KR, whatever it is. So now if I save this and I reload the extension, and I usually code in Chrome first, so I'm just going to reload the extension. And I'm going to reload the page, and because it's not a super common thing, suggested pages doesn't show up every time, for example, then sometimes it can be hard to verify that my extension is doing the thing that I want it to be doing. And when I did this recently, last time, I made several changes in that session and then went to check them, and I could never get the box to show up. That's kind of like where I'm at in this process right now. So I'm like having to go through this thing, continually reloading Facebook till I get kind of thing I'm looking for, and then we're just an then I write it out and I install it. I have to wait and for the pages to come up again. It's running really slow right now. This is a combination of when you got the development console open, it can get really slow when you and Twitch Studio is also taken big chunk of CPU and memory. Not so much memory, but a big chunk of CPU. Just noticing shows. I know some of these people. Nice to see them on the list. And really you end up at this point where it's like, this looks like the right kind of thing, but it's not, although I've already detected those, so that's good. Although I think I didn't, now that I think about it, I don't really want to print them out right now. I want to do, say L.CSS. We'll do the red like that other one. It will do two. So right now, if it works, it's just going to print them out the way I had before. And really what I wanted to do is do that coloring. So I can just move on to the next thing and just find the next thing to work on. But I will take a moment here and hopefully I will point out something kind of interesting. This is an example of, you'll see that I've got some blue around these ties, and I want to be able to eventually go through and demetricate all the age metrics. Here's the nested one. This one's handled differently. So Facebook doesn't do this, it doesn't structure things in the same way, and if they're just in slightly different places, it's not the same class names, not the same structure, not the same anything. Didn't used to be that way. Used to be wonder who, don't know that trumpet player. Now you're really getting me, just getting distracted by my feed. There's Arbite. Well, might not be worth looking for too much longer. Or another way to do this is just reload the page again. I might as well reload the extension again and reload the page again since I made that change. It's not an insignificant chance that someone in the gallery watching this loop would happy birthday us would themselves on this feed, because maybe we know each other. This is funny. Something I'm running is catching the dollar values on this ad, which could be an interesting thing to demetricate. Oh, hey, there's Mark Zuckerberg. Hey, Mark, I got a couple of movies you might want to watch. By the way, while I'm just doing this search, I might as well talk about, there was this Wall Street Journal. Yeah, I need to read this new book by Rick Powers. Let's see, Wall Street Journal, Instagram, toxic. So if you haven't seen this article, Facebook knows Instagram is toxic for teen girls, I'd highly recommend it. It basically is some investigative journalism through some leaked information that reveals that Facebook has been researching the effects of metrics, I mean, amongst many other things about Instagram and Facebook for quite a while. And they have known for quite a while that they are significantly negative. I mean, they have negative consequences for the users of Facebook. Of course, I've been arguing this for 10 years and demonstrating it and letting people feel it for themselves. And they've come after me for that work. And of course, then they announced the Instagram. They were going to test hiding likes a couple years ago, and a few months ago they came out and said, yeah, it turns out it doesn't really matter much, but we'll give you kind of this half-assed way of kind of hiding them in a few places, but not most places. And well, turns out they know. I mean, of course they know. Of course, I mean, nobody who follows this at all thinks they didn't know that visible like metrics weren't causing all kinds of problems for people, especially young people. But they pretended, and they caught. And unfortunately, nothing will come of it. I mean, maybe there'll be some investigation. Maybe it'll be a fine. I don't know. But $1 billion, whatever, fine. They don't care. You got $1 trillion doesn't matter. Well, I think it's time to move on to the next thing here. Don't see. It's kind of sad because I'm at this point. You don't get that satisfaction. Maybe we should go just to see if we can end this session on a note where we can go through the process of tracking, querying, detecting, and hiding a metric, and then see it happen in front of us rather than just believe that it would work. Let's see if we can do that. This will work. See, this is a repeatable metric, the friends count. I haven't done much work on this page yet. We will get some relatively quick success here. So same as before, we need to look for something close that will get us in the ballpark. Probably is going to be an aria, something about friends somewhere in here. So in this block maybe. Or not. Maybe I could go off of that. I don't know. Let's go one level up here. Tab list. Yeah. I mean, it's just a structure, but it's like the name of a structure. It might work. Profile tabs. There we go. Data pagelet equals profile tabs. All right, we'll start there. I have to reload my jQuery. And then I will go get the ready code. Okay. Now we will write a query to detect div data pagelet equals profile tabs. So that would get me to, well, let's just put a box around so you can see it. So that's a box around that block. In this case, I really only want the one thing in the block, the friends count. And those are these A's. I wonder if I said, actually here, it's just going to try something and I'll talk about it if it works. This is another way of going about it. If I do this query, which is find the data pagelet profile tabs, which is the red box, and then just give me everything that's an ADIV span. So here's an A, here's an A. So this is an A with a div and a span. This one would have an A with a div and a span. Let's go ahead and look. A, div. Open that div, it's got a span. That would also have some text. So I could just run through each of those, and then I could just look for the one whose text is friends. And then if it's the one with friends, then I can go looking for the structure that has the friend count in it, which is going to be this. So let's maybe get that. Let's do a little new writing. Okay, we'll say. So part of the reason I say ready is because people navigate back and forth and doesn't necessarily change out the page, and so when something gets reinserted, you kind of just want to be always watching for all of these things to be inserted onto the page. Very little in Facebook anymore it's really kind of like one big single page application. Some things are older, some things are separate, and it takes you into kind of a different single page application. But the appearance of pages is more of an illusion, I guess. It's a good way to describe it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that query. So if I'm each one of those, and then we'll do a test. We'll just say let test equal get the text. If text is equal to friends, then we will say the found element. Let's go ahead and change its order to that. I'll go over here. I'm pretty confident this is going to work, so I'm not even going to run it. I'm just going to put it right in the extension. This is going to be friends count at top of profile page. Basically friends 2136. Paste it in. Okay. Let's go reload the extension. Reload the page, and that 2136 should be in cyan if I've done this correctly. And it's not. So what did I do wrong? It would have been nice if it just worked. I should have. Right. Kind of did a couple things. Didn't quite finish. So I should have run the test. So let's go ahead and go get my jQuery again. I'm just going to do this thing right here. This way I can just copy and paste when I need things. Okay, so now, well, I'm a little bit surprised that, all right, first we'll just do some, I'll print out text, and let's try this code. I wonder why it's not giving me the, I mean, it's finding it. Friends 2136. But boy, it sure isn't. I'm going to do this before we quit for the night. Let me just try and get this again. Okay. Let's go here. Yeah, something's funky. I should do not still though. Am I misremembering something about each? No. Sometimes I do something like this when I really want to see exactly what's around this bit of text. So I guess it's already been detected now. All right, let's reload again. Let's also turn off some of this. What are you watching? I'm sure is we want to use bits or something. And you're right. I should probably figure all that out. We'd go a little quicker. I've tried various extensions that will. So there's the problem. There's the problem I'm running into. So I was searching for the word friends, but really the text on these elements is returning friends with the number in it. So let's go say if text dot contains, which is just a wrapper, does a match. It's like a simple way. It's a little bit simpler syntax for match. If the text contains the word friends, then we need to look at the structure and figure out what to do next. You're going to get this. So this is the span that we're getting the word friends from. So then we want to keep going and find not this span, but the next span. So the second span inside of this span. Now I really need to remember if this starts at 0 or 1. One-based indexing. Okay, good. That's what makes sense to me, but there's some case somewhere where it's not that. Maybe that's pure JavaScript thing. I can't remember. Anyway, so I want the second one, so it's going to be number 1. So it would be if the text contains friends, then our target here, we'll just give it a nice name like friend num equals e.find span equal 1. So the second span within the found element. And then we should be able to say friend num dot css border unpick solid cyan. Okay. Didn't work. Yeah, I guess it's already been found, and so doing these new readies aren't really loading it up. We'll reload again. Okay, query. Ready. Paste. And there we go. It actually works. How nice to find something that works. Okay. And be able to demonstrate it live. Do I even have a viewer? Let's see. I have a viewer. So, whoever you are, that's awesome. Thanks for being here. And of course, this will be recorded, is being recorded, and will be on loop at the gallery this week, and it will be live on the channel for whatever I'm allowed to have something live in the channel, or recorded sitting on the channel, 60 days, I think it is, without more of an account. But I also have my own copy, so maybe I'll put them up later. Okay, so let's actually turn this into something useful, and as long as we can do it. And because this one's easy, well, now we'll leave it as cyan. So if the text contains friends, then find the number, and for the moment, to give it a good comment, like, I think I already did have a good comment in the file. So let's go back. Yeah, so I need to get rid of this and put this here. I need to go through and fix my Vim configuration on pasting. This is getting annoying. Okay. Well, we should be able to now to do this reload. And so now just reloading the page should put the number in cyan. And there it is. Yay. Tempted to do one more, but I think we'll stop there. That's been an hour. I will be back in the latest in 2 weeks, but I'm going to try and do it next week. I want to move this through a little quicker than I'm able to in just every other week. So thanks for being here, and See you next time.